What do you think of when you hear the word identity? I find it interesting that the word identity comes from the Latin word idem, which means same. The original English meaning of identity back in the 16th century was quality of being identical. Same as what? Identical to who? Most of us spend much of our time in our lives trying to answer that very question. We all have an innate longing to know ourselves. Unfortunately, we are incapable of answering that question within ourselves. But we try. We declare that our identity is our job, our friends, our family, our hobbies, the things in this life that we're excited about. We take all kinds of personality profiles, hoping that they will help us understand who we truly are. Did you know that God answered that question for us before He ever made the first person? In the very first chapter of the very first book in the Bible, Genesis, God said, "Let us make human beings in our image to be like us." So God created human beings in His own image. In the image of God, He created them. Male and female, He created them. Our identity can only be discovered by going to the one who made us, because we were made to be like Him. It's interesting that the Hebrew word for image in this scripture is where we get the modern Hebrew word for photograph. God is the original, and we are photocopies. Let's say we make a photocopy of Leonardo da Vinci's masterpiece, Mona Lisa. First of all, is the photocopy of equal value with the original? No. The value of the copy resides in the value of the original and its similarity to the original. Is the photocopy going to be exactly like the original? Nope. But it will be similar in appearance. I can see an image of the Mona Lisa on Google and immediately know that that picture is of the Mona Lisa. But is that image on my computer the Mona Lisa? No, it's a digital copy. Now, going back to the masterpiece painted by Da Vinci, imagine that the photocopy has a mind of its own. It hears through the grapevine that there's an original, but it refuses to look into it or attempts to see the original. In fact, the photocopy is so self-centered and stubborn that it decides that it can choose its own identity. People may walk up and look at it and say, "Aren't you a copy of Mona Lisa?" But the copy would respond, "No, I am Picasso's Dora Maar with cat." What? Anyone would immediately laugh at how preposterous this is. First of all, because these two paintings are completely different. And second, because a photocopy does not choose its identity. This sounds absurd, yet we do this all the time. If the copy really wanted to know its identity and purpose, it would go back to the original. You and I are photocopies of God. In order to understand who we are in this life, we must first turn to the original, our Creator God. As we learned in a previous lesson, Intimacy Restored, Jesus Christ made it possible for us to have an intimate relationship with God. It's through this intimate relationship that we can begin to learn our own identity. Like looking in a mirror, the closer we are willing to draw to Him, the more we will be able to see about ourselves. It's through intimacy that we discover identity. Also, if my identity is dependent on an original, then my true identity is not flexible or changeable. It's not shaped by the people around me, my circumstances, my experience, or my decisions. Because the basis of my true identity is God, who is eternal and unchanging, my identity is immutable and unalterable. Who I am is neither determined nor influenced by the world around me. The only thing that changes is how I see God, and then apply that to how I see myself and those around me. And that's a process of stripping away the labels put on us by the world and applying the truth that is given us in Scripture. For if you listen to the word and don't obey, it is like glancing at your face in the mirror. You see yourself, walk away, and forget what you look like. But if you look carefully into the perfect law that sets you free, and if you do what it says and don't forget what you heard, then God will bless you for doing it. Scripture is like a mirror because it teaches us about God. As we spend time with God, meditating on His Word, with our spiritual ears open, we grow in our understanding of who God is and then develop our understanding of who we are. He is the source of everything that we are and do in this life. So the first step in knowing ourselves is to know God. And the best place to do this is in an encouraging, challenging community of fellow God seekers. A community like Wellspring.